Talking about Brendan, look at this. Look at this. Look at this. A Tozy. My guy A Tozy made a video about Brendan. I don't know why. I haven't watched it yet. But look at the title. A Tozy made a video about Brendan. Really big YouTuber. 1.94 million subscribers. 1.94 million subscribers. Comedian continues to destroy his image with questionable giveaway. Uh-oh. 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 Big YouTubers covering Brendan.
This comedian turned podcaster just got exposed for running car giveaways that seem less than legit.
They verify the winners.
If there's any connection to you, they're just...
So nobody in here can win. If someone went to high school with me, middle school, nothing. So you have to have no connection to me. So they go through, they say 10 business days.
And this has actually been a theory on his subreddit for a while, but it wasn't until someone caught the most recent gifted truck for sale in a different state from where the winner won it in. That's when a lot of people started going, wait a second,
Whoa.
Is this only just a ploy to sell more merch and it's not even a real giveaway? That's the main question floating around.
Brendan Schaub did a truck giveaway.
Wow, you got Unique. Big up Unique. Big up fucking Unique. Unique, you got a shout out, bro. Hey, Tozy shouted you out. Big up Unique. Big up fucking Unique. Love to hear it.
And remember, the winner was a pastor who just so happened to live in Texas. Because lo and behold, that very truck is now up for sale in Florida.
Okay, so that is interesting, but the guy we're talking about today is Brendan Schaub. He used to be a professional MMA fighter, but has since pivoted to comedy and podcasting with the help of his friend Joe Rogan. So as
with the help of his friend Joe Rogan, yeah. How about Brian Callen? You didn't talk. What about Brian Callen? Brian Callen played a big part as well.
Right now, he's a 42-year-old comedic podcaster who hosts multiple shows with other comedian buddies. And he's currently being exposed for allegedly running a giveaway scam for his truck, but possibly even other cars in the past. And while Brendan is often on the receiving end of internet criticism, it usually is just for, like, you know, just being cringe or failing at various endeavors. But this time, things...
That's your legacy. Why do you get so much hate? Because I'm cringe and I fail a lot. But I just go. Big up Bappa, big up Bappa.
Are a little bit different. So people are now wondering if there might potentially be a case for some kind of giveaway fraud here. If you consider the main way to gain entries to his giveaways was to buy his merch.
Yo, big up Cole. What annoys me is that nothing seems to happen with all this scandal he's involved in. Just news bait that's forgotten about next week. The question is for you, Cole. What do you want to happen? What would you want to happen in an ideal world? What would you want to happen with this news? Because that's where I'm a little bit different to most of the people that cover this sort of shit. I don't want to see this guy on the street with a fucking tin can. You know, that's not what I'm in it for. I'm in it to point and laugh and keep it moving. But I know there are some people in this community that want to see Brendan lose everything. So what do you want to see? What is your ideal scenario?
Now, of course, you can mail up to 10 postcards by hand and get 10 free entries, but most people aren't doing that. And this style of giveaway is fairly common, especially within the automotive creator space. And we've even covered some of them before. And while Brandon has come out on Instagram to try to dispel some of the rumors that he had no...
Oh, hell no. The dude who won the giveaway truck sold it already. This makes me not want to do fucking giveaways. Yeah, right. That fake anger. Fake outrage.
Acknowledgement or the involvement in the sale of the truck, lots of people simply just aren't buying it. Because even though he relocated to Austin, Texas to follow Joe Rogan, a lot of people are saying that
relocated to follow Joe Rogan is fucking peak.
Things aren't really going to his plan over there. But first, like, how do we even get here? So how do he go from a college athlete to podcaster potentially running giveaway scams on Instagram? Well, before Brandon stepped in front...
That's actually true. That's a big L, isn't it? That's a major fucking L. College athlete, right? To fucking comedian. No, to podcaster, to comedian, to then doing fucking truck giveaways. Jesus Christ, man.
Front of a mic. He was, as I said, mostly an athlete. Specifically, he competed in sports that had a whole lot of head trauma. This also earned him the online nickname as CTE Schaub because he kept mispronouncing and adding words. Watch me mispronounce what the And this also landed him the nickname CTE Schaub because of...
Is that true? I never heard... Is that a nickname? I've never heard that nickname. I never heard CTE Schaub as a nickname.
How he mispronounces words all the time.
It's a mass production. What's coming out? That was an M. Night Shyamalan movie. John Elway. and lives and breathes in Denver, Colorado. Owns car dealerships, won Super Bowls.
Okay,
Super
you won
Bowls.
Super Bowls. Okay.
I used to think giraffe was giraffe. I thought it spelled with a D.
Dude.
And I mean, hey, that is harmless. I myself mispronounce words all the time.
I used to think, imagine thinking that. I used to think a giraffe was pronounced giraffe. Why would you think that when it's not pronounced that way? Like, honestly, the school system in America failed him. He failed himself. His parents failed him. That makes no sense. How can a kid just think a word is pronounced one way? No, it's pronounced the way it's pronounced. Like, why would you think it's pronounced another way? Like, huh?
And the only thing I can really blame that on is being raised in Norway. But that's besides the point. Schaub was pretty good at multiple sports. Football, lacrosse, mixed martial arts, and Brendan even competed in a reality TV show called The Ultimate Fighter, and eventually ended up with a UFC contract, which explains how he knows Joe Rogan.
What's he put in there? Day 7 got caught f***ing off.
Seriously, y'all need to stop.
Ain't this a bitch? I'm so embarrassed.
And this connection
Oh, look at Brendan killing. Look at Brendan, the first little embers of being a stand-up comedian. The first little embers. But the second joke kind of bombed. The first joke had the room going. The second joke kind of bombed already. So we already saw the bomb artist in training. The bomb artist in training.
started to help propel him into the circles of famous podcasters and stand-up comedians, people like Theo Vaughn and so on and so on. So he started the podcast The Fighter and the Kid with Brian Callen in 2013 while he
Brian Callen. Say that again. Brian Callen or Callen. What?
and so on and so on. So he started the podcast The Fighter and the Kid with Brian Callen in 2013.
Brian Callen. He's going to be so mad. He's going to be so mad, Brian Callen.
While he was still fighting in the UFC, hence the name. But after a few years and a less than stellar fighting record, Brendan got some tough love from his beloved mentor, Joe.
It's not that you don't try hard. It's not that you're not dedicated. It's not that you're not disciplined. There's shit that other people can do that you can't do.
By the way, going back now, or thinking now with a bit of time that's gone past, the truth is he didn't try hard. Remember, he actually didn't try hard. If you listen to that episode of, what was it? Was it Golden? Was it the Schaub show? I don't know. It was one show that another failed show that didn't go past a few episodes. He was doing these shows where he'd break down his own fights or legendary UFC fight. I don't know if it was his own fights or other fights, but mostly his own fights. And he did one with Eric Griffin. And he was discussing some of his old fights. And Eric Griffin made some really good points about training and shit and like watching tape and blah, 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 blah. And basically Brendan in that interview, whatever he did with Eric Griffin, revealed that number one, he never watched tape. He just let his coaches do watch the tape for him and prepare a plan for how he was going to do the fight. He never watched the fight after the fact. And he wasn't a believer in learning a new skill. So if he was going to fight somebody that was, I don't know, a striker, he wouldn't even try to learn some basic striking so he can, hold himself down and shit. He just want to double down on what he's good in. He didn't believe in trying to learn new things, even if it would give you a slightly better chance that maybe you could win, maybe if you get a favorable result. So you learned that he was quite close-minded, quite narrow-minded in how he approached his fucking fight career, which maybe partly also explains why he was so terrible. He might have just been bad anyway and just bad luck. He came around at the time when the division maybe was a bit stacked and shit. But that interview he did with Eric Griffin was very eye-opening because it just showed how limited he was. He's the limited thinking he had approaching his career. He really didn't try to do other things, get into, I don't know, yoga, whatever, just to kind of, improve his fucking fighting and to make himself a better athlete. He just believed in what he had to do, what was his best assets, and just double down on that, nothing else, which is fucking hilarious.
If you had a wrestling match with Cain Velasquez, how well do you think you'd do?
Straight up wrestling?
Yeah.
I think people would be surprised.
Really? You think so? Mm-hmm. I think you'd be surprised.
I think
I really do. I think he'd f you up. There's a bridge between you and the very best guys in the world. And I don't know if you can cross that bridge. That's the reality of life.
Basically, he told him to throw
It's still kind of crazy to think back at it, I'm not going to lie. But to be fair, Rogan did kind of like make it up to him. I think I've always said, I've always believed that Rogan truly regretted that. He really regretted that whole thing. And I think Rogan's one goal at that time was to make sure that Brendan would never have to work again a regular job. That's why I also think he's never going to fail. That's why people like Cole who want to see Brendan down and out. He's never going to be down and out. He's got someone like Rogan in his corner who can always bail him out. He's got his dad in his corner who can always bail him out. Brian, who could, whatever. But I think Rogan especially has made it one of his goals. Hey, I'm going to make sure this kid doesn't have to work a regular job, because he kind of feels a little bit guilty that he kind of forced Brendan to retire from UFC, because that conversation led obviously to Brendan retiring. So he would feel bad if Brendan retired, tried to do a podcast and didn't work out, and then he's got to do a regular job. So he made it his mission to make sure to help him to not ever have a regular job by having him on the Joe Rogan podcast every single time. So he racked up the most, individual appearances and shit, etc., etc., etc.
On the towel, which had to hurt, especially having that broadcasted on the largest podcast in the world. But to be fair, at this point, Brendan had already been dipping his...
Exactly, user. You put it so well. You use way less words than I did. Instead of working harder, he just gave up. Same with comedy. Comedy got a bit harder. His friends moved away. He didn't maybe have the same ins and connections at certain clubs. He had to hustle a bit more. As soon as it got harder, he gave up. Exactly. Same thing happened in comedy.
Toes into the worlds of comedy and podcasting, and was sort of 1 foot out of the door anyway. So over the years, he had a few podcasts with the people I just mentioned earlier, and while he was doing all of this, Brendan also decided he was going to start a career in stand-up comedy, which is definitely not the easiest thing to do as a career. But despite that, he delivered 2 comedy specials titled You'd Be Surprised and The Gringo Poppy, which I guess is just an entire special talking about him marrying a Mexican woman.
That's so simply put. That's a great roundup of The Gringo Pappy. It's a special about him marrying a Mexican woman. It's fucking brilliant.
Moved in a house in LA. Whenever you move in a new house, it's always weird, but it's even weirder in the middle of a pandemic. So we moved in a new house. My girl goes, why don't you just go over and introduce yourself, right? I'll bake some Mexican cookies, and you go over there. I'm like, what the f***'s a Mexican cookie? What are you talking about? It's like a chocolate chip with salsa all over it? What are you talking about?
Boo. Yo, big up Dabs McGee. Exactly. He moved to Texas before knowing what the weather is, or what the weather's like. Exactly. That tells you everything. That tells you everything. Big up Dabs McGee.
Dicey.
Yeah, unfortunately, they weren't received too well. So, I guess once again, Brendan threw in the towel. Now, back to his podcast, The Fighter and the Kid. The audience are, quite loyal. Not all of them are what you would consider to be supporters.
And that's to be of a
So apparently they found this truck for sale just days after they posted it to the Fighter and the Kid subreddit. And they've been speculating about this truck and other giveaways on there for months, even years. Because as I stated previously, he was doing these like truck giveaways or car giveaways where if you bought something from his merch store, you got tickets to enter a giveaway. So like the whole merch pitch was, hey, buy my merch and you may win a free truck. Now, a whole lot of people on the internet are questioning, is he actually giving away these cars? Because people essentially think that Brendan has been running these scam giveaways for cars to make money.
Big up, Carl. I don't want to see him homeless. Nothing ever seems to happen with the stories. All YouTubers seem to make big deals about it. It's just stories, comments because it gets some views. No, that's not. I think he's a unique person. Anybody else would have had to given up. Anyone else would have had to given up and get a real job. He's unique in the sense of, think of his benefactors. Think of this. Think of his patrons and his benefactors. His patrons, right? His patrons are Rogan and Brian Callen. That's as legit as it gets in terms of establishing yourself in comedy, establishing yourself in the entertainment industry, establishing yourself in podcasting. Those are his 2 main people who got him into this whole thing. And they're still all good friends till this day. So with that, and the fact that he's got a very rich dad, his dad allegedly made some computer software or something in the 90s, sold it for loads of money, and clearly has a lot of money, because some people suggest that he actually funds partly Brendan's life and everything else. I think he's going to be fine off that. But if this was anybody else, they would definitely be struggling. But I think Brendan's been lucky in that he's had a lot of lucky breaks. That thing with Podcast One, the advertiser company, they were a bit of a scam, ended up owning him money. They ended up working in cahoots together with the fake views and shit. Loads of things have kind of fallen in his favor, you know? Anybody else, any regular person that went through what he went through would struggle. Same goes for Callen. Callen got accused of rape and was able to stay out of comedy for like a year or something, right? A year of a podcast and be perfectly okay. A regular person probably couldn't take a year off of their main channel where their main income comes from, you know? So I think a lot of this has to do with them just being lucky, them just having the luck of the Irish, having rich parents, having rich friends. And also you have to imagine Brendan and Brian started podcasting very early. Yes, the podcast is terrible, but one of the reasons why they're still around is because they've got like, it's called like first movers advantage. You see a lot with locals. I always talk about this, but you see a lot with people like Wings of Redemption, Boogie, DSP, like horrible. Even someone like Anne Boleyn and shit, that really fat girl. If you start really early on the platform and you're one of the first ones, if you just stick with it and don't stop, even if your content is terrible, you'll still be okay. Because you're one of the first ones. If you start right now, you're going to struggle. But because they started at a time that was really early and they're still around now, they're not going to go anywhere, you know? Simply because of that, basically. The only way the podcast ends and stops is if they stop doing it themselves. But I think Brendan is very unique in that he has rich friends and, you know, parents around him that can really bail him out. But I think a regular person would definitely struggle
off of the merch sales that it would generate. But since a lot of these promo videos weren't generating more than a few thousand views, it wouldn't be far-fetched to assume that not too many people are buying the merch and entering. Now that's the problem if you're gonna go put, I don't know, like 100 grand into a truck and you're trying to sell it. Like, you need to make at least 100 grand in profit off of your merch sales to make that truck profitable to give away. Because from what I can tell, Brendan doesn't have the FU money where he can just give away trucks from the goodness of his heart.
Exactly, that's what I've always thought. The trucks themselves are already quite expensive. Yes, he's buying a lot of them secondhand, but they're still expensive trucks. They're like 60 grand upwards and shit. But the modifications he's making on these trucks, the modifications are very, very, very pricey. He doesn't skimp when it comes to the mods. Everything he buys, every part is brand new in this fucking plastic, you know? It's not like he's buying secondhand parts on fucking, you know, eBay and shit. He's buying these stuff brand new, boxed. So, yeah, like, it was always fishy from the start. It was always fishy.
Without turning any sort of profit. Who knows? Maybe he does, but it doesn't seem super likely. So because of that, it wouldn't be super far-fetched to believe that he might be very underwater on buying that expensive truck to give away. And then, you know, he's trying to sell merch, but if you don't make a profit over 100 grand, that truck's not profitable. Exactly. But I mean, if he flips the truck, he can make a little bag. So then he gets the merch sales and then whatever profit from selling the truck. And again, this is actually if this is happening. We're just going off of the community speculations here. But unfortunately for Brendan, he's known for being a little bit of a guy who cried wolf. He's also been caught bending the truth and contradicting himself often. So unfortunately, it's not too hard for people to think that he could be acting slightly shady in a situation like this. Because there's like straight up multiple Brendan Schaub line complications on YouTube. So that doesn't really help his reputation here. So the claim is though, that every time Brendan runs one of these giveaways, the winner is just someone suspiciously close to him, with people going as far as saying that, hey, he followed one of them on Instagram before he even won. And
that's the thing as well that was so obvious. Like, he should have done at least one giveaway. Like, maybe, I know it's a scam and you got a scam from the beginning until the end, but this truck giveaway scam, why couldn't he have done just one giveaway that was real? One. That would have maybe got the trolls and the haters off his back and put, you know, kind of made people, convince people that it might be somewhat legit. But he started the fucking giveaway and it was fishy from the get-go. From the first winner, it was always fishy. He didn't even start with like a real winner for once and for the first time, and then of course you're gonna scam later on, do that. I don't know why he did that. So bizarre.
and that he hung out in the same circles as the winners.
Seems too intertwined to be a valid winner of a contest. If you buy a piece of merch, you're entered to win this contest. So go get yourself some Thick Boy merch and maybe you'll win a $200,000 car. The theory among Schaub enthusiasts, the merch isn't moving. Because Brendan's not making any money on these contests, he can't afford to give the trucks away. So he's giving them to his buddies so that he doesn't have to really part with all this cash and the expense of the truck and everything like that.
Okay, I don't know about the legitimacy of these claims, but I still feel like it's relevant to the story. But now, the most recent car Brendan gave away is to a pastor by the name of Blake in Texas. And that truck just popped up for sale in West Palm Beach, Florida. And this was all confirmed by the Drive Fast All Gas decal on the back windshield, which is Brendan's car page. But what also set off the internet sleuths is that Brendan's manager, Lex McComan, lives in West Palm Beach.
Whoa.
So there's a lot of coincidences here to not ask questions. Like, why would the pastor immediately sell the truck right after getting it in West Palm Beach, Florida, from allegedly the same spot that Brendan got the truck from to begin with? Because remember, the pastor lives in Texas, so that's interesting. And a whole bunch of people are speculating that Brandon struck up a deal with this guy and selected him as a winner, knowing full well that he would return the car to the custom shop to sell it. That wouldn't be very pastor-like, though. I don't know, it just seems so weird. Like, why would they, do
So what's happening then? Are they doing a deal where they get the money? So does if the pastor wins it and he sells it, does that mean allegedly he might cut Brendan some money? And then rinse and repeat?
Dude won it in Texas, and then immediately the car comes back up for sale in the place where they got it from. But I guess never underestimate the power of some internet sleuths, because they'll find everything. So Brendan immediately spoke out on his Instagram saying the winner was apparently not happy with his truck and turned around and sold.
Man, it's come to my attention the last giveaway winner didn't drive the truck or enjoy it in any facet. In any facet, he loves that word, isn't it? He fucking loves that word. He turned around and sold it the next day. No judgment. I'm sure he has his reasons. Makes me never wanting to do a giveaway again. Shut up. Why is it your business anyway? If they sell it, what? Even if this was real, why would it be your business what they do and sell with it? You know what I mean, you wouldn't write this stuff. This is definitely him trying to make it seem like he's legit. Reason I started them is to put as many badass V8s on the road as possible and give those who don't have access to wild cars the ability to own one and inspire others to do the same and grow a custom mod truck market. What? Oh yeah, you're so fucking you're so angelic, you are. Fucking hell. Not to turn around and make a quick buck. I hope whoever ends up buying this truck drives the shit out of it and puts the kiddos in the back. He's doing too much here, man.
The next day. Hey, I mean, I love V8s, but getting more badass V8s on the road, I wouldn't really say it's like a noble cause. But also, painting this dude as the bad guy who sold it to make a quick buck makes Brandon kind of look like he's completely innocent and had no idea. But the fact is, it ended up for sale in the city that his manager lives in, and not some random spot in Texas, which again adds to the questions. Like, I see a lot of people pointing out that Brendan claimed the guy sold it the next day, but it only went up for sale just recently. Like, the next day would have been like a month before it actually went up for sale. But who knows? Maybe it could be explained as he sold it to a Texas dealer and the Texas dealer sold it to that same specific dealer in Florida. Who knows though? It's not impossible, but there's definitely some coincidences no matter how you look at it. But that's the last time any real evidences came out, and now it's mostly just commentary channels just talking about the situation. And there's also a bunch of people on Reddit calling for this out to be reported as giveaway fraud and have it investigated.
Wow. They're submitting links on the giveaway fraud. This is fucking crazy.
Finding other influencers who do similar giveaways. Like I mentioned before, this is very popular in the automotive space. What I did find funny though is that Alex Jones is also doing giveaways like this. And I'm not saying not giving away the truck. I'm just saying like they sell more merch by, you know, when you buy a shirt, you get X amount of tickets to win whatever they're giving away. That's what's common.
It's
hopefully not too common to allegedly not give away the item you're claiming to give away. But since there's so many influencers who are doing these kind of giveaways, I am wondering, is this one big company that's kind of like doing these kind of like brand deals where they're like, hey, look, we'll set up all the structure for you and make sure it's all legal and stuff? Or are they doing it on their own? Who knows? Brendan did say himself that he had lawyers while selecting and contacting the winners, so we do have to assume that his bases were covered, no matter what he did. Maybe it's so counts as a legal giveaway if he only actually gives away the 10K. But as of right now, it doesn't seem like his audience want to stop until they find the truth. So it'll definitely be interesting to see if anything else comes from the story. Maybe we get the side of the pasture in the future. Who knows though? But Brendan did like one of the comments on his Instagram post saying that the dealership said they traded in for a Bronco and cash, but even still, that could have been a part of the arrangement. And again, we have zero proof. And also, why wouldn't have Brendan just said that instead of saying like, oh, he just quickly sold the car immediately? Like, I feel like it's a pretty straightforward answer, and him selling the car like that, it just comes across as weird. I feel like there's more to the story that's being left out. But hey, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below.
I personally think if you had to ask me, I'd say the following. I think it's quite simple. I think there is some sort of company that's involved in this truck giveaway thing, and they are doing it for the purposes of data capturing and shit. So I would imagine this company pays Brendan or whoever the influencer is a set fee to promote these trucks and shit, promote these giveaways under the guise that, you know, there's the merch to enter, all this nonsense. But Brendan just gets like a fee, like an appearance fee, whatever, like a booking thing. And the company behind it, what they get out of it is data from the people that enter. So phone numbers, addresses, all that shit when you enter the raffle. And then they rinse and repeat. That's what I think happens. I think it's simple. It's as simple as that. There could be some more elements involved with the truck giveaway in terms of the selling of this stuff, but I think the kind of the basis, the foundation of the scam is probably that. I would assume probably something along those kind of lines. I don't think any money's coming out of Brendan's pocket. I don't think he's the one that's doing none of that shit. I think he gets paid some sort of fee to do the giveaways and to act like he's, you know, the one that's spending the money on it. And then the brand of the company, whoever they are, they get everyone's data, sell it to other companies, all this malarkey, blah, 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 blah. That's what I think allegedly may be happening. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. What are you guys saying? Andy Ward, Reddit will always end him exactly. This guy is on something now. Let's see what's under the beanie. Is hilarious. We got agree exactly. Minus he gets it. He gets it. The real thing is if the winner is real person or friend, that's it. What it is, yeah. Like I said, I just don't know why he didn't do a couple of them real, or maybe one at least. Do one at least real. Have some fucking abuela, some kid, you know, some black guy because everyone that won it is fucking white. Like, do something. Just mix it up. That would have been. That would have got the fucking attention off of him. But instead, he just started allegedly scamming. Sorry, from the minute one. He didn't even try and pretend. Like, God damn it, Brendan. God damn it.